Donna here, and today we're talking about my 8 steps to getting an agent, a publisher, and a 2-book deal. So over many years, I've traveled a writing road to get published, and every step I took, forward and backward, led me to where I am today. And I hope my journey helps you understand that it really does start with just one step. And all the steps that you take along the way will totally benefit you once you get a book deal or get a publisher or decide to self-publish your own book. Okay, so let's jump right into my 8 steps to getting an agent, a publisher, and a 2-book deal. So years ago, I crawled out of my writer's cave and totally got out of my comfort zone to meet other writers and people in the publishing industry. I challenged myself in many ways that I never thought I would. Writing is impulsive. So when it comes to putting yourself out there to become an author, be impulsive. Take risks. Are you ready to get out of your comfort zone? Because once you have a book deal or become a published author, you will be asked to do all kinds of things. Sign at panels, teach at conferences. Are you going to say no or are you going to say yes? I hope you say yes. So step 1, get out of your comfort zone now, because you will have to do that once you become a published author. Step 2, 2 years pitching to 189 agents. I spent years submitting to agents, but every time I got a rejection, I would send out another query letter. And this is what you need to do. And your query letter is just a sales tool to get an agent to ask you for your full manuscript. That's it. That's all it is. So if your query letter isn't working, revise it and search for new agents. New agents are always trying to build a new client list. Are you ready to keep pitching? Because once you have a book deal, your agent will want to pitch other books that you write to publishers, or you may want to pitch your other books to publishers. And so the roller coaster ride of an author begins with more rejection just waiting down the road, but also more acceptance. So step 2, you'll always need to keep pitching in your life as an author. So get used to pitching your books. My step 3 rounds with a developmental editor. I highly recommend whatever route you use to get published to use a developmental editor. This is somebody who's going to not just do line edits, but help you with your story, the structure, the setting, the characters, the plot. Once my query letter worked and agents started requesting my full manuscript, I was very frustrated though, because I kept getting rejected and I didn't know why. I just knew something wasn't working in my manuscript and I didn't know how to fix it. So I hired an editor to help me with my story. And I found an amazing editor at writing-partner.com with Catherine Kraft. We did 3 major rewrites over the 2-year period that I was submitting to agents, kept getting rejected, and I just kept revising my manuscript with her until I did finally get an agent. Working with a developmental editor is really like getting a mini MFA. If you pay attention, you can apply everything that you learn from that editor and fill your writer's toolbox so that you write better the next time and you are improving on your craft, all on your own. So the question here is, are you ready to take criticism and apply it to your work to make your story shine? So step 3, be ready and open to taking criticism on your work, applying what you learn to make your story better. Because guess what? Once you get a publisher, you will be assigned an editor and you will have to work with that editor on changes for your story. So book after book that you write, editor after editor will ask you to make changes to your story. Are you prepared to do that? Because they are going to ask you to make changes and they want to know that you know how to fix the issues in your story. So be open to changes because there are going to be a lot of them on this journey as an author. My 4th step, 4 months waiting to hear back from a publisher to see if they were going to accept my book or not. Some of you may already know it can take a really long time to hear back from agents and editors and publishers when they have your manuscript under consideration. This can be so frustrating, I know, but while you're waiting, keep revising, keep submitting to other agents or other publishers, work on a whole new story if you have to. And most importantly, study the publishing marketplace. Get free newsletters to Publishers Weekly and Publishers Marketplace so that you can Keep up on the industry and what books are selling. Read in your genre. Buy books on writing craft. Some of my favorite writing craft books are Story Genius by Lisa Crone, Wired for Story by Lisa Crone, Plot and Structure by James Scott Bell, Conflict and Suspense by James Scott Bell, and also Writing the Breakout Novel by Donald Moss. And keep coming up with new book ideas. Why? Because if you get an agent, they want to know that you are not just a one book deal kind of writer. They want to know what other projects you're working on. And if you want to be an author, you have to have other projects in the pipeline, or at least ideas of other stories. So are you ready to think about agents in the same way? Because once you have a book deal, you'll be on a whole new career path. So when you get that call from an agent or a publisher, they may have all these questions for you. What other ideas you're working on, what you like to write. Are you thinking about them in the same way? Because while they may be asking you questions and interviewing you, it's a great opportunity for you also to be interviewing that agent or that publisher. So step 4, research agents. They're researching you as well. Once you start out on this author journey, you want to prove that you are a serious writer. So you don't just want any agent. You want an agent who understands you, understands the genre, and most importantly, will be your champion. Research agents and come up with interview questions for them to make sure that you are a good match before you actually have that first conversation. So as writers, we need to keep learning our craft. We need to build a community around us, and we also need to understand how the publishing industry works. In putting myself out there, I went to many writer meetups, and I was lucky enough to become friends with a literary agent who actually asked me to be an intern at her agency, which meant that I got to read novels and either recommend them or not to her that she got in from queries. So it was a great learning experience for me because I learned how to deconstruct novels and see issues in novels and also see those same kind of issues in my own work. So it was a great, great learning experience. In putting myself out there at writing conferences, I also made friends with many best-selling authors who love to pay it forward and help new writers coming up through the ranks because they, one time, were new writers as well, new authors. And these authors were amazing. They advised me on questions that I had. They wrote blurbs for my book. They paid it forward. And someday, you will too. Are you ready to keep learning from your peers and apply what you've learned? Because once you get a book deal or get published, you will be elevated as a writer in a whole new partnership. A partnership that requires you to be knowledgeable and professional in your craft. And along your author road, you'll need to continue networking to boost these valuable relationships that will help you succeed in your author career. My 6th step. 6 in-person agent pitches. I've pitched my book at social gatherings, at conferences, at workshops. Try and think of it as a conversation because really agents need us writers as much as we need them. Always be ready to talk about your book. Always have a business card on you to hand out to someone. So step 6, be ready to pitch your book at a moment's notice. Because once you have a book deal or get published, you will be promoting your book everywhere. At book signings, in the grocery store, at writing conferences, at book festivals. So always have your book's one-line pitch ready to pitch to that potential customer. Remember, you are the one person who is the most passionate about your book. My 7th step, 7 months to write that first draft. I didn't always enjoy writing my book, and sometimes I felt out of my comfort zone. But I challenged myself to do it, so I set myself a deadline to get it done. So step 7, set yourself a deadline. Because once you have a book deal or get published, you will be expected to meet many, many deadlines. You may have an editorial calendar with your publisher and go many rounds of editing. And if you get a multi-book deal, you're going to have deadlines, not just for those other books, but also proposals for other books as well. You may even have deadlines for other things like blog tours or interviews. So whatever you do, make your deadline. Keeping your deadlines in the publishing industry will help you keep a great reputation. And that's totally what you want. Okay, my 8th and final step. 8 agents who had my full manuscript and rejected it. And the biggest reason that agents rejected my book was because of voice. But your voice is a natural extension of you. You can't change your voice. So wait for that someone who will love your voice, whether it's an agent, an editor, or a publisher, or maybe it's even your readers. If they love your voice in your book, that means they probably will love your voice in other books that you write. So step 8, be ready for rejection and be ready to keep on persevering. Because guess what? There's all kinds of changes coming down the pike. Once you get a book deal, your changes to your story may be rejected, your title may be rejected, and your next book proposal may get rejected. So I spent years preparing to publish my book. And when it happened really, really fast. So let's recap all of these 8 steps that I went through and that you can go through too to prepare yourself on the road to being an author. Are you ready to take these steps again and again? There will be missteps along the way, but I'm here to tell you that going through all of these steps and missteps will totally prepare you for your role as an author. So I hope this video and these steps have helped you with your path of creating your awesome author life. So if you like this video, please hit like below and subscribe to this channel. I love hearing from you, so be sure to leave comments below and let me know the topics of interest that you want to hear about on this channel. So until next time, I'll see you in the zone.